This is Cynthia Larson with RealityShifters.com, and I'm here today to talk with you about changing the past. And one of the basic requirements for changing the past is recognizing that we're able to do it at all. And that's a challenge because of a quote. A quote helps to point out why that's a challenge. This is a quote by Yakir Aharonov, and he said, "The future can only affect the present if there is room to write its influence off as a mistake." Now, this is the thoughts of a quantum physicist back in 1964, and he was taking a look at the symmetry of time, the fact that if we are aware that we can change the future, then just as space has symmetry, we expect that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. We're looking at changes through spatial coordinate systems. We can also expect to see a similar symmetry in time. The interesting thing is that some of the requirements logically for this to even work at all require that we can't always know exactly how it's working or that it's even working. So this explains a lot for those of us that have experienced reality shifts, and we've wondered, how is it possible that someone could have had inoperable liver cancer or a tumor that's just out of control like my grandmother did, which spontaneously goes into complete remission without any kind of chemotherapy, any kind of radiation treatment, anything like that. It really boggles the mind. And so this is the realm of miracles, the realm of literally walking into some other reality. And when you think about it and you realize that quantum mechanics forbids a single history, which it does, then your mind can fully open up to some exciting possibilities here. You can also recognize that thinking in terms of retrocausality and changing the past, we would expect things like synchronicities to occur. We would expect to experience deja vu, where we've got a feeling or a dream of something and then experience it. A lot of these things fall a little bit outside the realm of what we can ordinarily explain, but they start making a lot more sense when we look at symmetry in time. So today, thinking about how we can change the past, or why we might even want to, it's important to look at the motivation actually. Why do you want to change the past? If there was something that you wish you could change, what is your reason for wanting to change it? Because usually there's something that we can learn even from terrible crises and calamities in our lives. Hopefully we've become a better person for it. Hopefully we've developed better character. I personally believe these things are important because that's part of my practice as a spiritual life coach. So I would encourage you to take a look at things that have happened with an eye toward how have I grown and what has improved based on this experience that I've been through. Once we've gone through that process of examining ourselves and looking at why is it that we want to do this, another good thing to do is to get to a place of complete acceptance. And you may think, well, that's a little strange because what I want to do is change this awful thing that happened. But mindfulness requires that we attain a state of rising above our ordinary consciousness and looking at our lives as if we're watching a movie, watching a character going through a drama. And you wouldn't want the main hero to just be kind of caught up in a cycle of resentment and despair that never seems to end. You would want that hero to grow. We look for that in our stories, and we look for that in our lives. So that's something to keep in mind when you practice meditation, when you practice any kind of qigong, any kind of spiritual path, then you're opening yourself up to an awareness of seeing beyond the ordinary limitations of your physical body and your mortal existence. So it's a way to rise up, look at the story, and see a little bit more than you might otherwise see. I would also recommend, this is my personal recommendation on changing the past, I love to ask how good can it get. That's the same question to ask for changing the past. You want to know, how good can the past get? And one way to enhance how good the past can get is actually to appreciate it. And I told you many times throughout all these videos that I've done that one of the best things you can do is practice gratitude and appreciation. It's a form of getting to a place outside yourself and seeing the many blessings that have been bestowed upon you. It is profoundly important to stay in that attitude of appreciation, of gratitude, and that awareness definitely changes the past. And you can see it clearly when you look at yourself, when you've reached a point where you are able to forgive and move on. The real forgiveness, that the key there is reaching a place of appreciation, whether it's for the circumstances or another person, what have you, but realizing that there's something that came out of this that was good, and getting to that place of detachment where you're just rising up above it. Just like shifting gears on a car, you can't change gears and you can't shift realities until you reach that place of detachment. So these are the steps to work on, and to review again, you can play the video back. But the reason I talk about some of the science behind retrocausality and changing the past is to open your mind, to stop believing that such things are impossible, to become aware that not only are they possible, but they're happening all the time, and to have a little better understanding of why it is that we often don't catch these things happening, for the very simple fact that that's just not the way they work. It can't work that way. So until next time, keep asking how good can it get, both about your future and your past, and look forward to talking to you soon. Take care. This is Cynthia Sue Larson with RealityShifters.com.